Good morning, traders. So still using the Bull-Williams theory, how do we apply that to the Aussie, the South African top 40 today? So for all intents and purposes on the daily, we are still in a downward trend using the alligator. You can see we bounced off the top of the alligator here and we've bounced to the downside. Now, we are finding levels, and the reason for that, if I just come back on the monthly, look at all these tails in this area here. Okay, so you can see there's a whole lot of inside tails where buyers will be stepping in. Okay, now the first one to pay attention to is pretty much this level here. Okay, so this level, which is a 43,186. Okay, now looking at the monthly, have a look at the oscillator here, grouped in the downside. Okay, we are quite far below the alligator now on the monthly as well, which is not a very good sign. If we look at the weekly, I think it's the same picture. You see pretty much a strong trend to the downside, and we are sort of staying below the 200 moving average. Okay, however, we are still very much in an area where you would expect buyers to start stepping in. Okay, so one thing about this, when you look at the daily, is this is not a pretty picture. Whenever you've got tail to the top, tail to the bottom like this, barbed wire, in other words, indecision, people don't know what's going on, and the bulls are trying to push it up, the bears are trying to push it down, and you'll find that the levels will be not just your bigger time frames, but they're going to be on your lower time frames as well, where there'll be certain levels where people will step into the market, whether it's short or long, just based on a few different levels. Okay, so I would still like to see a double bottom. So this is a warning signal for me, this pin bar. I would like to see another signal on the 4 hour. If I can get another bullish signal on the 4 hour, that would bode very well for a move to the upside. But if you look at that group 3 there, big up, big down, big up, big down, no decision. Here we go, down, big up, then we have another pin bar. So lots of indecision. Okay, so whatever signal I get here is going to have to be a pretty strong one. So either an exhaustion bar with an inside bar or another pin bar. That would start giving me confidence that we have a potential double bottom brewing. Let's just look at the hour, because that's what we want to trade. Nothing really to write into here. So Friday, you can see we hit our inside bars over here. Okay, bear in mind, this tail here is not the inside tail. The next one is, this one here is your inside tail, because price came past it. Okay, and you can see pretty much spot on. And the seller stepped in, and the buyers kept trying to push it up until they drove it down to the gap close. Now, the big question you got to ask yourself, and we'll look at this on the lower time frame, let's look at it at the 12. So you can see we had this gap up, and then you've got this 12-minute exhaustion bar straight up to a level, your entry short, and then frustrate yourself for the full day while it does nothing and gently tries to come down. But still, if you'd actually just played that, that was a good 600-point move. Okay, now you can see we sort of just ambled down to come and close the gap. Okay, now if you take the first half hour of trading, there's the first half hour of trading, and we broke to the upside and we broke to the downside, and broke to the upside again a couple of times. So very volatile day, and that's typical of a day where there is no direction. Okay, so what do I expect today? I'm expecting more of the same, to be honest, and the reason for that is this trend line here is broken and been retested. So if we look at this on the hour, you'll see we broke through, came back to test the break, and then we broke below the pin bar. Okay, so that's kind of the view that I have at the moment. However, in saying that, just look at the oscillators at the moment. Okay, we are still bearish according to the awesome oscillator. So in other words, we are below the 0. But if I look at my Williams percentage R, I do have a potential double bottom here. Okay, And that could be interpreted two ways. Either it could be seen as diversions, okay? So in other words, low, slightly lower, or a double bottom, whereas price is going low and then higher low. But there's no fractals at the moment now, so you can't really read into that right now. So what I'm expecting is more downside. But today may still be a typical Monday. So in other words, meander and amble all over the place, probably towards the downside, pick up a level, and then the buyers step in. Okay, so let's just have a quick look where 10 cent is. 10 cent is down 1.2%. Asia is down, and the US futures is also down 0.8% for the S&P, and the Dow 0.8% as well. One we need to worry about for this market is the Nasdaq, and let me just find the Nasdaq futures. Nasdaq futures is down 0.9%. Okay, so I think at this stage you probably expect a little bit of a gap down, pick up a level sometime later this afternoon before a little rally. But I don't think there's going to be much fireworks. But I think I'm really looking for a long entry. I don't see a reason to be sort of to stay short at the moment. Okay, so right now, if I look at I'm looking at the 3 hour there. If I look at the hour, you can see this big gap down. We bounced off it. We've come back to close this. This gap up here is still open. Okay, we've come off the first inside tail, which is expected price action. But now what I want to see is maybe a bit of a meander down for another entry long. And this entry long will then be to come and test the 200 moving average here. Okay, the other thing to bear in mind is obviously so if I draw that trend line, so from there to this tail, and you can see we've got a couple of touches on that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on that. So that's pretty much our trend line. Okay, so I think the critical aspect here is the fractals you need to watch for today are pretty much this level of 45470, let's round it off, and we don't have a fractal to the downside yet. So you could argue that we just watch the this level here of 44,936 for a break to the downside, but I'm not entirely convinced I want to be short. Okay, so for me, I think I'm suspecting that this is some kind of a bottoming consolidation pattern. The only thing that is concerning me is all these tails all over the place on the 4 hour. So I'm not entirely convinced. So in other words, it's not something I'll be trading today. But if we do form a double bottom, and double bottom is quite far away, if you look at it. So we're looking for something around 44,300. So if we do start forming just a 1 hour, something like this, you can see this 3 hour period here, which gave you a fairly good entry long. Okay, it was only a 2-day entry long, but better than nothing, 1,000 points. So that was the one thing. But as I say, I'm expecting this to come back down and then look for some kind of a pattern, something similar to this, sort of a pin bar. It's going to have to be a really strong pattern for me to get in, and then I would be looking for another entry long. So yeah, so that's me for today. And I think the last thing I just want to point out here is Now we had this falling wedge, and then we gap below it, and then back up. Now if I move that to there, have a look at how that lines up. You see that? Bottom, bottom, without adjusting anything. There was the original wedge. You can see our price is using it. I move that down to there. You can see that happening. Nothing there, but that there is pretty much our next. And look, I reckon if you extend it, okay. So yeah, so that's kind of what I would expect. So I'm really looking for a double bottom, and I want to see something down 44,296. Okay, I'm not entirely convinced, which is why I'm not actually going to be looking for shorts. We'll see what happens at the open. Maybe it may entice me to go short, but I think I'd rather wait for a long entry down here. It's going to be a little bit more appealing to me anyway. Okay, nothing really else I can see there. So I think advice for you today is really just be cautious. Be very cautious with this today. And it doesn't matter if you don't trade it today, but if you get another day like this, it's going to frustrate you. So I think be patient, wait for a decent setup. Okay, and before we close off, let's just have a quick look at the ichimoku. And I want to look at it from a daily. Okay, so you can see the Kijun and Tenkan are flat, and basically what that is telling you is indecision. So from the daily perspective, nobody knows what's going on. Kijun's flat, Tenkan's flat, cloud is flat. Okay, cloud is starting to move to the downside, coming together. So that may indicate a bit of a twist, but I'd prefer to see the bottom part of the cloud moving up. So nothing really to read into that. On the 4 hour, we bounced off the bottom of the cloud here. We've broken below this pin bar, so kind of there would be people trading this short. I'm just concerned that we have a flat Kijun here and flat cloud. So there's nothing really to read into it at the moment. And the last 3 weeks has been, just it's been up and down, twisting around. So there's nothing that you can actually read into that from Ichimoku. Here we have a bullish crossover, but we're now pointing to the downside again. Still nothing. Flat, all over the place. Now you're looking for strong trends up or down like this. Nice strong trend to the downside, which tells you what's going on. This is telling you that there's total indecision. And even on the half hour. Okay, 12 minutes. You can see we had a little bit of a rally here and then sideways. And now nobody knows what's going on. We do have a bit of a crossover here. We've got a bearish crossover. We're below price. That's 1, 2. We're starting to get a twist in the cloud. So there's 3 bearish signals on the 12 minutes. So that's why I reckon some downside to start with before we actually pick up some levels to start moving back the upside. So just be very cautious. And the best way to do this is really going to be look at your levels. So there's the first level you need to watch out for. Okay, that's my inside tail. There's an inside tail. Okay, this previous breakout here has happened. There's a breakout. Doesn't really matter, but it's in there. Come down to a low time frame and you'll see what I'm talking about. So that was the original breakout. We've tested that breakout. You can see there with this pin bar. The next one is down here. If we get through that, then you need to start picking up on the lower time frames. So yeah, I mean that's kind of my view at the moment anyway. The next one will be this one here. There. So that's the next breakout. Okay, so those are the 3 levels I'll be looking for price action to bounce off. This first one is pretty much null and void. But this next one of 44,820, and then you have 44,600. Those are the two that I'd be looking for a long entry. But again, not entirely convinced. I think we're going to be hinging on what happens on the US this afternoon. So you'll probably find just a meander all the way down or meander sideways, and then we'll pick up a direction later this afternoon. Okay, so yeah, so I'm not filled with much conviction today. More than likely just going to ignore the Aussie today and focus on another instrument where I can control my risk a bit better. Okay, so hope that helps, and I will catch up with you later. Cheers for now.